Good morning, everybody. Another morning, another press release. This time again, a little bit different. We're putting out a release, a geological update on our understanding. This is one of the more thorough updates that we've put together. And this update specifically addresses the vein morphology, or the shape and form of the vein sets that host the gold and antimony at Sunday Creek. But also, and most importantly, it addresses the continuity and why we are seeing the continuity and how this project is hanging together. So we put a lot of detail in here. It's actually relatively quite simplified from where we've come from. And like all my peers do, all our peers do in the industry, we use multiple data sets to inform us to come to a solution. And the solution here are wireframed vein sets. We have something like 42 wireframes now, the rungs of the ladder. There's 42 of them. And when we go and do that, we've had to use a lot of data sets within our bank of knowledge to create those wireframes, but we've also then had to test them. And once we've created the wireframes, we can use the geostatistics from those to determine whether they are a good representation of what is actually happening down under the ground from the drill holes, which are only a subsample, of course, of what's actually down there. So this is industry standard stuff. It's quite complicated, but we wanted to talk about the continuity because our next step, and very soon you'll see an exploration target, which is the first time we're going to be able to quantify what we've drilled out over the last year. So stay tuned for that news, but we just wanted to set the scene, if you like, with a good solid piece in terms of the understanding and vein morphology and continuity of grade. There are a number of factors that inform the continuity of both geological structure, but most importantly, grade. It's really important to understand the continuity of the structure, of course, but the continuity of grade is much more important because that's what the main estimates are made on, informing not only the tons, but the grade within those tons, and eventually how many ounces are in any one gold deposit, like Sunday Creek. So we've used simple things like structurally oriented data. All our drill core is structurally oriented. So we've been able to measure the veins, and we've got literally thousands of measurements, and we've shown those in stereo nets, which are a way to demonstrate 3D data in 2D and analyze that data. And for those people who understand how to read a stereo net, they'll see there's very good descriptions of the earlier pyrite veining that parallels the rails of the ladder, so parallels that main dike breccia host structure, and then the later northwest quartz carbonate gold antimony veins, and the data supports that very well. We go into a little bit of detail around our quality control, or QC data. We have lots of data where we've taken half core, and that demonstrates that there's good homogenization of grade across the scale of the core. That we also demonstrate once we pulverize the samples in lab duplicates, that we get very good repeatability of grade. We also talk about the recoverability of the core. So how much core have we recovered versus how much will be lost in the drilling, and we get extremely good recoveries, greater than 99%. So we're not having lots of gaps in the data. And then the most important, I think this one thing to take away from this press release is the geostatistics that have come from the wireframe shapes. And we've been given an example from Apollo where we have more drill density, and we look at the coefficient of variation, which is basically a measure of the variability of a data set. And in this case, we're talking about gold. So the lower, the better. Below 1, you've basically got a very homogeneous material. Between 1 and 2, it's good. If you're starting to get higher than 2, it becomes a little more challenging. And then when you get above 5, it's a very erratic mineralization. So it's very hard to predict grade within a volume. At Apollo, where we have the drill density, our CV, or coefficient of variation, is less than 2. So that shows very good repeatability at the scale of the drilling, and that's what is the first time we've seen this, and I think that will inform people very well around the geostatistics and the continuity of grade. Then there's many other factors like geological likeness. We put in some photos. Predictability, when we predict we're going to hit the vein, and then subsequently we do. And then most importantly, we've got 50 years of mining history. So we've got not only the mining records of where they stoped, and then we can drill beneath the stopes and the mineralization continues. So, and we know they mine the stopes in those northwest directions as well, following those veins, and some of the descriptions, and we put in a description from 1899. So which basically reflects our understanding today. So they were incredible in terms of their understanding even back then. Specifically, when we look at the veins, and we have 42 veins, and this is one of them. We call this RS10, or Rising Sun 10. We can see this has been quite well drilled relative to many of the others. From surface, it extends right down to 570 meters. It's only limited by drilling, so it's not closed on the edges by drilling. So here we're looking with the northwest to the right and the southeast to the left, and we've got about 30 to 40 meters of vein strike in that dimension. But like I said, it's not closed off. It's limited by drilling at the moment. And then you can see the intersections. These are downhole intersections coming right through here, and there's many intersections. The ones in red are the key results. So 17 at 13 grams, equivalent 14 at 24, 5.6 at 10. The true thickness will be less than the drill thickness, but it varies depending on how we're hitting it, but probably averages between 50 to 70% through this vein. 13 at 10, 1.5 at 43, and 9 at 27. The green numbers here are drill holes that we're yet to release. So you can see that we're testing the model by drilling these holes, and the TBA will come to the table to be announced very soon. We also show the main geological structure here, which is the dike itself. You can see the mineralization actually extends beyond the dike into the hanging wall and footwall of that structure. So that's why we get the widths, and the vein sets extend out into the altered sediment that exist on either side of that main dike structure. So one example of how this is really starting to hang together with all those criteria, the structural data, the likeness, etc., to inform us to build these kind of models. Not only is the vein itself along the strike, if you like, on the right or left-hand side of the red limited by the drilling, meaning that we've only just closed it off because we don't have drilling to the right or left. Likewise, at depth, this is open and has not been tested. So there's still a lot more to come. Now we can see RS10, which is the vein that we'll look at in detail. That's located here from surface, 570 meters down through here. It's open at depth, of course, and we'll show how it's open along strike in and out of the page of this long section. This is the surface, and we're looking down to about 1 kilometer depth down through here. We describe 3 different veins, numbered here 10, 20, and 80, and you can see there's many. So we actually have 42 individual veins, all open, of course, and so much more to find where these big blue open arrows are. We've got good hints up near the surface through here. So still very much on that early days of discovery, even though we're now starting to really define and understand individual veins and the morphology and continuity of those. So all in all, a lot of information and data, but good continuity of structure, good continuity of grade, and stay tuned for the exploration target that will come out soon based on this understanding.